less than others. Every amount matters. And I also want to remind you, the parts, I think he has them over there. I also want to remind you that we only have 2 of these on sale today. Yeah? I think it's $20. Brother Lyndon? 20? $20? Okay, and a t-shirt? Okay. All right. 20 and 20. But there are only 2 of these, and there might only be 1 now. Okay, and we are taking orders for the DVD as well. This is something that we absolutely, I know a lot of y'all got Medea at home. Y'all need to have Lumumba at home as well. Okay?
We're recording the session.
Okay.
And we're also going to take artists for those.
Oh, good. Okay. All right. And the, will they be ready today? Okay. This session is also being recorded, and you can place an order for it today. And I do encourage that you do that. I will be doing that because I want to be able to go back and listen to what we have heard today and clarify for myself what I know I must do. It's not a joke. Breaking the silence. We'd like to now begin our question and answer session. Let's see, how shall we do this? We do have 1 microphone here. Asukele, talk to me. How should we do this? Should we use this microphone here?
We can do it any way you want.
I like that. Okay. So what we will do is we'll use this microphone. Asukele?
That cord is only so long. The cord is not that long, but you're welcome to use it.
Can you turn it on? It is? Okay, here we go. All right. Thank you. Big up to our sound man. Asukele, always on point. The love of my life, Asukele, when it comes to sound. We would like to open the floor for questions and answers for our panelists. You can come to this mic. Yes? Let us welcome Baba Obadeli.
First, I'd like to say I was moved by all of the presentations. One of the things we have to be aware of is combined with the Congolese that was killed during the time that King Leopold literally owned the Congo as a Congo Free State, and the 6 million that was killed, add up 12 million Africans, add up 6 million Africans, and still counting, how genocide is being practiced in Congo freely.
Right.
And my question is, given the situation that was in Darfur, the situation in Somalia, what is the projection with the United States initiative toward AFRICOM? What have your research showed you about their role in the debacle in the Congo, AFRICOM in the Congo, and their move to, the United States move to recolonize Africa just as they did or was a participant in the 1884-1885 Berlin Conference?
Well, AFRICOM is well running in Africa and in the Congo. They are doing training in Kisangani. We've had word that they're building a military base there. They've been invited by the Congolese government to do that, unfortunately. The problem now is not, share with people, it's not really what the United States have to do, is we know the reason why AFRICOM exists is because it was funded by American legislators who believe that this is the solution for problems in Africa. We know the larger role of it. So the challenge is, what can our allies in the US do to challenge the legislator to defund that project, because the project is funded. That is going to happen until they are challenged to it. In terms now of what the Congolese people are doing, the civil society have said it numerous times, there is no military solution to the conflict in the Congo. There is a political solution that includes dialogue. They have asked that many times to anyone who's coming to help. No, you want to bring peace in the Congo? Look into Rwanda. Make sure there is inter-Rwanda dialogue. Look into Uganda, that there is a creation of political space in Uganda. Look into the Congo, make sure that the election this year is free and fair, and that the civil society and anyone who's trying to change it happens. And how pragmatically that will come, it will be just as we worked during the Free South Africa movement. People were doing teach-ins to educate people of what was happening during apartheid. People are not understanding what is happening inside of the Congo and the attack that they get from everyone. Probably it wasn't clearly explained that it's not just the US military, it's also the multinationals. It's not just the multinational. Then you have the neighboring countries. It's not just them, it's the multilateral institutions such as the IMF or the World Bank. Not only that, you also have the local elite. So they have all these forces against them that it makes it extremely hard as they organize on the ground to do anything. That's why we know that the Congolese have a chance if they can connect with ordinary people on the outside. That we seen it work with South Africa. We notice how the youth in Egypt connected with ordinary people to challenge US foreign policy to stop the support of someone who was getting $1 billion a year. We saw that it worked, and they still have challenges. So we say, if we know, we can get to an American to say, I'm really concerned that Citibank funded rebels in the Congo. I'm really concerned that till today, we haven't had reparation for the assassination of Lumumba, even though there is documentation on it. No, I'm really concerned that we're sending our troops there before putting pressure on our allies, Rwanda and Uganda, who continue to receive weapons through the Akota program of the Pentagon. So those are the things that we think can help, and of course the direct support to the groups on the ground. I don't know if you want to.
I'll just compliment what Kambali had said and be a bit more general. AFRICOM is short for Africa Command. The United States has military bases, an estimated 1,000 military bases in over 100 countries around the world. So they have spheres of influence through their military. And AFRICOM was conceived by Donald Rumsfeld and George Bush, 2008. Now, and the initial idea was to establish bases on the African continent. But almost every African leader rejected it. When George Bush, remember George Bush went to Africa on a tour in February of 2009. Part of that tour was to sell AFRICOM. And only Ellen Johnson Sirleaf of Liberia accepted the idea of a US base on the African continent. Now, as bad as the African leaders are, and they're bad, right? All of them, just about all of them, rejected AFRICOM. So that should tell you something. So, right now, AFRICOM, its headquarters is housed in Stuttgart, Germany, looking for a place on the African continent in terms of its headquarters. It may actually be set up in Virginia. That was the last proposal that was floated. But what's important for you to understand is the geopolitical context in which AFRICOM got birth, right? Africa is the storehouse of precious and strategic minerals that are vital to the functioning of modern society. The technology sector, the electronic sector, the military, aerospace, heavy industry. Africa has the minerals that make these things function. So China is booming, is growing economically, right? Investing billions of dollars on the African continent to get access to natural resources, right? And China has a lot of cash. America cannot compete, neither America nor Europe can compete with the cash that China is ready to invest and is investing in Africa to control or get access to those minerals, to the cobalt, to the copper, all of that. That's key for China to develop industrially. So where America has an advantage is in its military. So it aims to put a military presence on the African continent so it can get and control access to those resources. So AFRICOM, in a geopolitical context, is a response to China's advancement on the African continent. Because there is a new scramble, I shouldn't say new, an increased scramble for Africa's wealth, especially in light of the decline of Western economies. And we saw the bottom fall out, and we all recognize that paper has no value. That's why with the paper going down without any value, we see what the real value in gold is, trading at $1,400 an ounce. And other raw materials, copper, increased 1,000% since the early 1990s. Cobalt, the same. So when you see AFRICOM and the U.S. trying to establish a military presence on the African continent, is to get access and control of natural resources in the grand chessboard that Zbigniew Brzezinski talks about. So that's what's taking place, a geostrategic battle for not only Congo's wealth, but Africa's wealth. But we're not aware of that. And as Kambali said, that we can play a role in that by providing solidarity and reprieve to our African brothers and sisters who don't only have to fight their corrupt leaders, but also have to fight foreign forces. And we can play a role by putting pressure on our government. So that's the context in which AFRICOM takes place.
More questions? And while you're formulating your questions, I want to say that $163.78 was raised, and that you can also go to www.friendsofthecongo.com. And I don't know. I don't recommend that you all follow my way of paying bills, but I skip a lot of bills often, and even skip my house note on occasion, because I feel like there are other things that I should support with my money. And so that's what I do, because I understand that if we don't support some of these organizations and some of the people that are doing the important work that we do not do, then we're going to be in a lot of trouble. So I'm not necessarily recommending that you follow my model, but that's what I do. Question?
Peace. I want to ask the question of the young lady, and because you brothers talked about using kind of the Free South Africa model. I was a student leader in D.C. when that movement came about. And it is a good model, I think, that can be used, but it's key the young people have to take real leadership. And I just wanted her to talk about, one is, the connections around the AUC. I work at Morehouse College, and we're working with brothers, and friends are coming to the college. They have an African Student Association at the whole AUC. But I'm just not seeing, as the sister was saying, young people going to do it differently. And that's a challenge we have with elders and young people. A lot of elders want the young people to do it their way instead of letting young people do it the way they see it and their vision about it. And if we look at our history as African people, from Biko, and you can look at the revolutions that have taken place, a lot of young people, Soweto and all, so we can go through that history. But I just wanted to get her perspective on that, number one. Number two, the brothers who are the leaders of the Friends of the Congo, are you involved with Trans-Africa? Who are your African-American institutions, any institutional structures that are taking up this charge, and what are they doing? If they're not doing what they're supposed to, call them out so we can know, because I think that's going to be key too. Congressional Black Caucus, these black leaders, even in Atlanta, you know,